I want to know what I could have been and never become it.
I have no idea what I want to do with my life, and I have no sense of direction. I just was nowhere. I was going nowhere.
He's a traveler, a motorcycle rider, and someone who every now and then likes to escape reality. Who is Nic?
If somebody asked, hey, who's Nic? And he died at 22, he'd say, oh, well, he was just a funny guy. And just realizing, my life could be full of this, and this does not feel good. And, this was still good, Nic. This was still good, Nic. When's this going to stop? I'm hearing that a lot. When is this going to stop? When is this going to stop? Mom, I'm not always going to be like this. That young mentality of you're invincible and that nothing's going to happen to you. That not me. This is not who you are. You know that. This means so much. Oh, this is so
Howdy, y'all, and welcome to David's Saturday Night Sit Back. I'm David, and almost 3 years ago, I started this podcast having no idea what it was going to become. After the first 12 episodes came out, I was approached by a 17-year-old in the gym who told me that a year earlier he was so miserable that he tried to take his own life. He's alive, he's thriving, and he's joining the military now. And in that moment, I knew exactly what this podcast was going to become. I'm on a mission to find hidden gems in Austin, Texas, and give them a platform with one mandate: to tell personal stories that'll light the internal fire within the audience as they navigate the dark night of their story. My end game for this podcast is that one day I have thousands of emails from people all over the world telling me how these stories gave them the courage to take their dreams, turn them into goals, and chase those goals until they become reality. If today's episode impacts you, email me your story to sitbackwithdavid@gmail.com. When I moved to Austin, one of my greatest fears was approaching strangers to start a conversation, so I made a commitment to myself that every day when I walked out of my front door, I would talk to someone new. I became that annoying guy at the grocery store, as my friend Annie would say. Through this commitment, though, I've made friends, gone on dates, and found some of my favorite podcast guests, and I have a note in my phone with hundreds of names and remarks about our conversations. Back on Wednesday, February 25th, I went to UT to hand out flyers for DSNSB Live, the first live event we did in front of a live episode, or a live audience, excuse me. And while I accomplished my goals of handing out flyers and had quite a few quality conversations, I actually felt very tired and very defeated. And after being rejected by multiple people, I did the thing I do whenever I get upset, and that's to go to the gym. I'm on a shoulder machine, and a few feet away from me, I spot this young man sitting across from me today. The first thing I noticed was that on his calf, there is a tattoo with a year that I assumed was his birthday, because if that was true, it indicates he's in the later half of his 20s. So I figured he has some life experience. We're off to a good start. I also noticed he had good posture, moved slowly. His tattoos indicated expression. His build indicated work ethic. And like many of the conversations I have with strangers, they started because my gut simply told me, go talk to him. In our first conversation, I found out he's a first responder. He makes good eye contact, he told good stories, and he could bounce back and forth on subjects of both gravity and levity with ease. And I knew I wanted to learn more. To lift the veil for the audience a little bit, all my guests are required to fill out a form with a few questions, one being what do you want to talk about, and today's guest generously said we could talk about anything. I also require my guests to grant me access to have a character call with someone close to them. When I spoke with Nic's girlfriend, I could tell she had her guard up, and rightly so. I'm a stranger asking incredibly personal questions about someone that she loves, so I didn't learn as much as I hoped. But that said, Nic has almost nothing in his Instagram except he's a traveler, a motorcycle rider, and someone who every now and then likes to escape reality and enjoys a cup of coffee before a night ride on his bike in this great city of Austin, Texas. I say all this today to say that today's show is basically going to be 100% improvised. I know very little about this man in my dining room with me tonight, but my commitment to you is that I promise we'll go much deeper than talking about how many sets we do to get our arms 1% larger than they were yesterday. I've been reflecting on some questions to ask Nic that hopefully will help you, myself, and him make better decisions, take quicker action, and be 1% more confident in our identities by this time the episode ends. Nic Patterson, welcome to your episode on David's Saturday Night Sit Back. Thank you for who you are, and thank you for trusting me to help you tell your story.
David, wow, thanks for having me.
What's
Great to be
going
here.
through your head right now?
A little bit nervous, a little bit cautious, I guess, because like you said, it was kind of I didn't give you a whole lot of information to go off of, but I'm the majority a very open book, so I'm open to talk about anything, literally anything.
All right. Well, let's ease into this a little bit, and I'm going to try something that I've never tried before. I'm going to hand you a piece of paper,
Okay.
and I would like you to read out loud for the audience what is both on the paper and what is inside of it.
Okay. Initial. It says goals. Little sticky note on it. Okay, the first one, I want to stay broke and keep myself in debt. I want to get in my own way whenever I start making progress. I want to let other people's opinions decide what I do with my life. I want to sit on my best ideas instead of acting on them. I want to make excuses instead of making changes. I want to isolate myself and end up alone. I want to numb myself with addiction. I want to shrink whenever life asks more of me. I want to waste the gifts I was given. I want to know what I could have been and never become it. And I want to live a life that I secretly regret. These definitely do remind me of some old thoughts I used to have. More specifically, I want to make excuses instead of making changes. That's what kind of shouted out to me when I read all of these. Well, I can't say just one. I want to numb myself with addiction. Well, now I'm looking at them again, and I start seeing more kind of old thoughts I used to have. I want to shrink whenever life asks more of me. Yeah, this one too. I want to waste the gifts I was given. I want to know what I could have been and never become it.
That one's the scariest one to me.
Yeah.
Could you imagine seeing a glimpse of your future self and then feeling like, read the exact wording on that one more time for me, please?
I want to know what I could have been and never become it. That's the biggest fear. Those are pretty deep.
I appreciate you for saying which ones you resonate with. Go ahead and close that out, and we'll come back to that in a few minutes. If we strip past job titles, resumes, words that we generally use to describe ourselves. Hey, I'm David. I'm a podcaster and a dog dad.
Mm-hmm.
If we go deeper than that, who is Nic?
Who is Nic? I would say Nic is somebody that cares about people, somebody that always likes to make light of situations that are serious or really any situation, which I've been told is sometimes a fault, and not a fault, but maybe I'll stray back to reality real quick. Nic is somebody that genuinely cares about people, wants to do right by others, hard worker, a good listener, always trying to be a better listener, and a mama's boy. First and foremost, mama's boy. I think I struggle with talking about myself and trying to compliment myself, and picking positives out of my own character, I struggle with, because I know there's always been times where I haven't been those type of, I haven't had those characteristics, but yeah. I think that's who I am. It's probably not the best answer.
What's a compliment? What are two compliments that make you just light up? Like, if you think back on the last couple months, is there one that maybe it's more surface level of like, I don't know, someone in the gym was like, bro, your arms are looking great today, dude, and maybe they were just being friendly, but to you,
Sure.
you were like, fuck yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm doing, so it could be something like that, or like something at your job, but then also on the flip side, has there been anyone that's paid a compliment to you in the last like year or 18 months where like you didn't even know that you liked being told that, and it made you feel almost like either emotional or proud, or it's almost like it activated the inner part of your soul. Do
Mm-hmm.
any two compliments come to mind by chance?
I guess one. I think there was a gentleman about a year and a half ago that had said he was going through a really hard time in life, and they had told me that coming into work. Actually, no, it was a young lady at work that I'm very close with. She's one of my good friends, and she said, I was struggling. I had some personal stuff going on in life, and I was mad coming to work, and I was feeling bitter about certain things, and we came and worked together, and I left feeling so happy. And no matter what mood I'm in, um, she said that I was able to turn that around, and it just made her brighter leaving. And yeah, hearing something like that definitely made me emotional, and realize I really like that feeling that I got from what she had told me. Excuse me. And I just wanted to chase that feeling, I guess. And I guess a more surface level compliment was, yeah, I think it was a gym bro, and he came up to me and said, "Great physique, man. I can tell like your neck veins are showing." And I had no idea my neck veins were showing, and that brief couple of minutes, I was like, "Oh hell yeah, man! Like I must be doing something right." He just said, "Great physique, man," and little things like that always feel nice to hear for sure. But yeah,
It does feel nice.
it does.
Yeah, one of my buddies, Tristan, he actually, this particular Tristan owns this. This is his company, Forbidden. But he came up to me. He saw me in a wife beater for the first time. He usually sees me in either like his clothes, or that day he just happened to catch me. I was feeling extra confident. He's like, "Dude, how have I known you for like 2 years and I've never seen you in a tank top before?" I was like, "I don't know. That is sort of strange. Like we see each other all the time. I wear them all the time." And he was like, "I just feel like these tank tops are made for men like you. Like you look so good." I was like, "God, damn,
Relax.
that is a very specific compliment,
Yeah,
brother. But
yeah.
I'll take it. Like,
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
Mhm.
Now
Yeah.
I've been wearing them like 10 times more than I normally do,
Yeah,
because
for
I'm like,
sure.
these things, apparently these were made for me, or I don't know. There's that saying that I heard once, like, guy was talking to his girlfriend, and she was like, "Oh, does the dress make the body?" And he's like, "Oh no, baby, the body makes the dress." So I may have just like reversed
Smart
that.
man.
I don't know what way it goes, but
Yeah.
I just butchered the shit out of that.
No. Received.
We're gonna jump into the past a little bit to help us answer this "Who are you?" question, and we're gonna take a look at some pictures.
Okay.
Are you down?
I'm down, of course. Oh wow. Oh yeah.
That's you, right?
That's young buck Nick. Yeah.
I was gonna-
That's young
I'm not.
buck Nick.
Did
Who
you
the
did you
hell's
almost
that?
not recognize yourself? And you're like, "Why is he showing me this picture of a kid?" Like, this just took a hard left turn.
First grade. Yeah, probably first grade or kindergarten. I almost remember taking this picture in the pose I was doing. My mother was a teacher at the same elementary school I went to, so she was there when they were taking these pictures, and I remember her saying to do this kind of pose, and yeah, she was just going, "Oh, you look so cute." That felt good, but yeah, this is innocent little Nick.
Innocent little Nick.
Innocent little Nick. Had
Before
no idea.
the chaos.
Before the chaos, I
started.
had no idea what was around the corner.
Did you at the time? I don't know if you can remember this far back, but do you recall? Did you love having your mom as your teacher? Or was it sort of like,
I loved it.
gotta see her again?
Yeah. No, but, fortunately, our relationship was very good at that age, and it still is. I loved having her as a teacher at the school I went to. I felt a little bit cooler because all the kids knew her, and they knew me as they'd hear the last name Patterson, and they would think, "Oh, that's Miss Patterson's youngest son." So I thought it was like a little form of Hollywood back in elementary school, I guess. But I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. She was very sweet. She still is very sweet. But yeah, it was good elementary school. It was yeah, I had no bitter moments there.
Tell me about a little bit about early life. I remember I asked your girlfriend, but I'm blanking. You guys are a Texas family, but not
Hmm.
Austin, right? But you were born here somewhere.
Yes, yeah, I was born in Arlington, Texas. That's a couple hours north of here. We lived in Pflugerville. This picture was taken in Pflugerville, Texas, which is pretty close to Austin. Um, so we, growing up, we'd always go to Trail Lights and Green Mesquite barbecue that was in Austin, pretty close to Zilker, and then in my teens, I was living in Georgetown, Texas, which is about 30 minutes, 35, give or take, north of Pflugerville. But yeah, I'm from Texas and lived here my whole life, and yeah, I love Texas. I'm a Texas boy.
Since Pflugerville isn't too far, to the best of your memory, what's the biggest difference? And outside of the obvious, like size of people,
Hmm.
has Austin and the surrounding area sort of retained like the 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 culture, I guess you could call it, or has
Yeah.
it sort of completely turned into like the tech bros hub and
Yeah.
comedians are just running rampant everywhere and like what kind of changes have you observed in the last 20 years?
I guess the changes I've seen, even though Georgetown is not far from Austin, uh, the population is a little bit different. They're a little bit older, so versus Austin, there's a lot of youth here, and the infrastructure has changed, the highways have changed, the people are kind of spreading out more, so you're getting the youth kind of spread out, and I guess a lot more coffee shops are popping up in Georgetown and in Pflugerville and stuff, and um, yeah, I mean it's people have always been very nice for sure, in Georgetown, Pflugerville, and Austin, but you get that more city kind of living, city society in Austin, and people are cutting you off a little bit more, and um, people are real jumped in high energy in Austin, I guess. But um, yeah, I don't know. I guess without saying Georgetown is just full of old people so much, it's just that older generation, So um, there's definitely a difference, and um, I notice in Georgetown maybe there's a little bit more eye contact when you're talking to people. People are a little bit more personable, and not completely saying that Austin has nobody like that, but there's a little bit of difference for sure. But
When I first moved here, this sweet old lady at the gym, she comes walking up to me and she says, "How many generations your family's been living here, sweetheart?" And I said, "Actually, I've been in Austin for 6 months." And she goes, "Well, pull on my cow's bell and call me crazy." No, I can't.
I
but,
wouldn't be
but
surprised.
she said, she was like, "Well, really?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Where do you move from?" And I said, "Sacramento, California." And she goes, "Well, you seem like you fit just right in." And I said, "Why is that? Why do you say that?" And she says, I think the beard, but this was a compliment I didn't know I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
She said, "The way you talk with people, it's just so kind. You
Mm.
talk to people like Texans talk to people." And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm equivalent of an Oscar. Like I
Yeah.
wanted to give her a hug. Yeah, dude, what a solid compliment. I think
Yeah.
part of it too is just because I had this fear of coming here and maybe the podcast would go nowhere. Or maybe I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't make any friends, or maybe Texans would see me and be like, "Oh, this fucking Californian." But she told after she said that, I was like, "I'm gonna be just fine."
Yeah, yeah, that's a great compliment. Yeah, Southern hospitality.
Um, let's go with. Let's go with. Of course, it's on the bottom. I think I printed these. I did it backwards. Yeah, let's go with this one. You remember this moment?
I do remember this moment.
I'm assuming you're a little older there. You can't see much because you're sort of incognito with the glasses and the
I
hammock.
am.
But
Yes, I was
I was
trying
like,
to hide.
this has got to be the next oldest one. Maybe
This
not
is.
by much.
Yeah, I think I was probably around, maybe 19 or 20. Yeah, maybe 19 or so on this one.
Oh, quite a bit older.
Mm-hmm. I
Why
got
do you
baby face.
think your mom sent that one? Was that a particular afternoon or like a favorite spot of yours? Why do you think she sent that?
I think so. This is at Inks Lake State Park, and growing up, we would go with family to camp here and just enjoy being with family and just getting the camping experience, getting a little bit of time away from society and relaxing. And she loves getting away from her stressful life and going camp. She's a very outdoorsy woman and very outdoorsy young lady. And yeah, this was a great moment. This was just a son and mom trip just to get away for a little bit. And I think this was right before we started roasting some hot dogs on a little grill they had there. And yeah, I was just taking it easy, just throwing up. They're called Enos, so just little hammocks. And yeah, this was a great moment. It's always a great moment going and traveling with the mom, doing little mom and son dates. Yeah, this is a good moment.
That's awesome.
It's a great moment.
Do you have any siblings?
I do.
You do? How many siblings you got?
So I have one older brother. He just turned 29 in January. And I have a stepsister. She lives in Colorado. She's a soccer coach at Boulder University. She's a little bit older. She's, I think, around 33, give or take. But either way, I'm the youngest.
You're the baby.
I'm the baby. I am the baby.
When you're in your household, back closer to the first picture, do you remember, were you guys raised religious at all? Did mom and dad work? Talk to me a little bit about just like those. We're going to go back surface level before we go deep again.
Yeah, sure.
Just describe the family. Were you guys ranchers? Well, your mom was a teacher.
Yes.
What about dad? Was he in the picture?
Dad was in the picture. My parents divorced when I was about around 10 or so. But this was before that. Yeah, my father was a football coach his entire career, so he was still in the school system, and he taught history, as they do, as coaches usually do, and but he was a big history buff. Yeah, Dad was always around in elementary school at our house in Pflugerville. After coaching, obviously he'd come home, but yeah, parents had 9-to-5 jobs. Yeah, sorry, what was the other part of that?
Religion play a part in your household?
My father grew up religious. My mother grew up religious. I have some great uncles on my mother's side that were actually preachers. But we would go to church. They would try to get us to go into church every Sunday and stuff. And, I had Sunday school. Unfortunately, as a young kid, I didn't really understand religion too much. So I really just did not like waking up super early to go somewhere. At that age, I hated waking up super early. But I always look forward to just getting some Mexican food after going to church. So that's what I was excited for. But yeah, we grew up going to Christian. Went to Emmanuel Lutheran, which is a little children's daycare kind of thing. But it slowly kind of faded off. We weren't super strict in religion at all. But it was more so of more open to anything, any of the possibilities. But it wasn't ever, you guys have to believe in this. This is the way things are. They were just kind of lackadaisical in a sense.
Yeah. So, for anyone that's been following this show, and I don't know if you caught on to this with the clips that you watched or not, but I haven't talked to my dad in 15 years, and this is going to shock people. I'm going to pay him a compliment. I have this core value that I know I learned it from him, which is to keep your word even when it hurts. It doesn't, I'm sure there's something in the Bible somewhere in there about that, but he didn't really teach it through religion. He taught it through action. If he told Bill he was going to help him move out of his house Saturday morning at 7, he never woke up on Saturday morning and was like, man, that was a rough week. I'm tired. I'm going to text Bill and lie to him and be like, oh, the dog's puking. We can't help you move.
Yeah.
He always kept his word for better or worse.
Yeah.
Mostly for better, I would say. But when you think back on your parents, did they ever have any core values? Not the obvious ones like don't kill anybody, but was there anything that your mom or your dad, whether separately or together, they really tried to drill into you guys? Do you recall?
I remember anybody that came in contact with them was very much they were very respectful to people. And I would kind of segue off of what you were saying about your father. It absolutely was, follow through with, if you tell somebody you're going to do something, then you need to do it. Once you start something, you need to finish it. And honesty. and just being nice to people. My parents were both, they were never disrespectful towards anybody. I mean, there's some situations that, if somebody was being blatantly rude to them, then they would still maintain posure and try to be as respectful as possible. But I just remember always it being a very loving household, and just hounded on respecting people, being nice to people. So I think that I resonated with that, and I was goody two shoes in elementary school. I was a kiss up to all my teachers and stuff. But I think genuinely that's who I was. I loved being nice, but I'm pretty sure that's what I would say their values were, is honesty, following through with your word, and just being a hard worker for sure. So
yeah. I think those stuck with you too. I'll
Mm-hmm.
tell you a quick funny story that sometime in 2025 I approached a guy identically to how I approached you,
Mm-hmm.
and as soon as I asked him the question, he said, "I'm not going on your fucking podcast." And I was so stunned. I said, "All right, thanks," and I just walked away because I didn't really know. It caught me off guard because people have declined me a bunch. They
Yeah.
said thank you for asking. That's a crazy awesome invitation, but I'm good.
Yeah.
A lot of people are very kind about it, as you
Mhm,
were.
mhm.
I think I got that guy on a bad day.
Yeah. Oh, he wasn't joking. He was being serious.
Oh,
It's
he was
like-
being dead serious.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
you're like, all right, all right. Well, can't win them all, I guess.
No, but you
Well.
were cool, man. You gave me, I think we talked for like 10, 12, 15 minutes. You gave really good answers to my questions, and you followed through. You're here today. Do you want me to take any of that from you? You want to do a trade, or do you
Sure.
want to hold
Yeah.
it?
Sure.
If there's a comfort in having something to hold, you can keep them. Or there's that fidget spinner there.
Oh, that's what those are. Okay.
Yeah.
Thought they were Bakugan or something from the old days. Yeah.
No,
Wow, those are cool.
Couple fidgets, just in case people get it. Actually, that was my mom's idea. She was like, "You should put these in the studio. You might be making people nervous." And
Shout out to moms.
Yeah.
They always know. They always know.
I'll do a trade with you.
Sure.
You can keep the goals if you want, or you can set
I'll
the
keep the
goals
goals.
there because we'll need them later.
Okay.
Who's this version of Nick? How old are you? Where are you at?
Oh, this is, I'd say around 10 years old. This version of Nick was still, the sun's always out in life. It's never a rainy day. Definitely a goofy kid. This was at Enchanted Rock. Also another place that it was kind of a thing. It was a tradition to always go to Enchanted Rock and hike at least every year. This was the very top of the mountain, or in Texas we call them mountains, but it's more of a big old rock. And this was a good day too. We climbed the top of the mountain, and it was hard. And my grandmother, or Mimi, would go with us, and we'd be talking and getting frustrated because of how steep and hard climbing the rock was, how slippery it was. And then at the top we'd always eat Cliff Bars or beef jerky. And this is another great moment. And my brother's out of the picture in this, but I always had to do something goofy, or I don't know, I just was a silly guy, I guess. I'm still a goofy guy, but this is a great picture. This was, still had no idea what was yet to come in the future, but this was life is easy mentality that I had in this, for sure.
I think you're older here. I should have just asked her, but I dropped the ball there.
Oh yeah.
Family dog? Your dog?
This is my dog. This is my my Great Pyrenees Willow. Gosh, when was this? This was probably 20. I was probably 22 at this age, or this picture. Yeah, we were at a beach in South. It was Jamaican Beach in Texas, kind of about 40 minutes away from Galveston, Texas, and just another family trip. We grew up going to Port Aransas and stuff as kids as well, and this was the last beach trip we had as a family. I was 22 in this. Brought my dog, and fortunately there's no other dogs around in this picture, because if there's another dog that's similar to her size, she gets very aggressive and wants to kill him. So I know, but other than that, with people, she's very sweet and just a very loving dog. Yes, this is my little baby Willow.
She's still with us?
She is. Yes. Yeah. Yes, she's still with us. She's about 2, give or take. She was living with me in my studio apartment for a little bit, but she's such a big dog. She is now boarding with my mother, and in Georgetown until I find a little bit bigger of a place. But yeah, she's the sweetest. She's a big lazy dog, but yeah, I love her.
Yeah. All right, last picture for you, and then
Okay.
we'll jump into some more questions. This one I thought was funny. I was like,
Oh, I know which
he
picture this
started
is.
to step into his
Oh yeah.
identity a little bit. Look at that
Oh
stud.
gosh, cornball right here. Yeah, this this was yeah, this picture was forced on me. This was I guess graduation pictures after graduating high school. Picture was taken in Georgetown, and um, yeah, yeah, I wouldn't say I'm majorly camera shy, but posing and stuff like that, I did feel a little bit corny, but this was for my mother and for pictures that I knew family would have. So I put the ego aside or anything I had, and I just thought, well, let's just get it done. But yeah, this was transitioning over high school or past high school and starting to realize I got a little bit better of a taste on what life is. Even though I was 18, I mean, you're still a child in a way, even though you're legally an adult. Um, yeah, it was still a good time. Yeah, it was still a good time in this picture. Um, this was it's crazy. I don't look at too many pictures of myself from the past, but just looking at them immediately, I kind of get some old memories and stuff like that from around the time period. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, this was still good, Nick. This was still good, Nick. Just I think this Nick, it's weird because I first looked at this picture, and I know what I was doing around this time period. I was 18 in high school, drinking a lot, partying, and really had no set goals, just kind of flying by the seat of my pants. And um, so I'm not disappointed looking at this picture at all. But yeah, definitely, this is right before the phase of my life that I'm not too proud of. So I think that's what I thought of looking at this picture for sure. Even though it was a good moment and a good day, um, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of for sure. Hmm.
What are some of those memories that are coming back to you right now? Like from that moment
Hmm.
backwards. Was there any times in middle school or high school that you think adds a lot of context to who you are today? Could be something, something good, something bad, something in between, just anything at all that led you up to this, that had a lot of impact and led you up to this moment.
Sure, I think the years, weeks, months before this, I mean, yeah, high school was great. I was definitely a people person, people pleaser. I think I started realizing, looking back at it now, I was, in a sense, a pushover, because I always wanted to avoid conflict. I wanted to just be liked by everybody. And, I thought being the cool guy was cool, and I had a great friend group that I'm still in contact with. Um, Definitely a lot of learning experiences, trial by fire, trial by error. And there's definitely things I look back on, still from my high school days, as far as drinking and no motivation, showing up late, all the morals and values I have now just wasn't even a thing. It was just I'm young and I'm allowed to be young and dumb, just because I'll never be able to be young and dumb again, which is a horrible excuse, but it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, yeah, just kind of an unmotivated guy at this time. Just what motivate? Well, my head wasn't on. My head wasn't screwed on right at this moment for sure. I still had a lot of learning to do. Um, yeah, I don't know if that answered everything. I guess I have so much going on in my mind of all the knucklehead things I did in high school, even though people do knucklehead things in high school. Um, but yeah, did I answer the question? Sometimes I start talking and I don't even know.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. Okay.
What was one of the knucklehead things you did?
Mm, I think smoking marijuana and drinking alcohol and I could have a homework assignment due, or football practice the next day, or some pretty critical things that I needed to get done. Instead, I wanted to go out and spend a ton of hours with friends, all hours of the night, just drinking and smoking weed. And um, I had a curfew my mother had given me, and I was just always getting in conflicts with her, um, staying out late. I just know I was worrying her like crazy, and yeah, tons of that stuff, tons of that stuff. I thought, that young mentality of you're invincible and that nothing's gonna happen to you, the not me thing. You just not me. I'm not gonna get pulled over after drinking, and I'm not gonna get pulled over after smoking marijuana. I'm just lucky, and I'm just gonna ride it out because I know I'm lucky, and it's just not gonna happen to me. Thankfully, nothing happened. Um, that changed my life dramatically like that. Getting pulled over, getting arrested. I never got arrested or anything like that, but um, someone was looking out for me or something, because there's a lot of very stupid things I did. Yeah.
During that time, did that impact your relationship with your mom?
Absolutely.
Did it put some tension on it?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Did you resent her when she tried to do things like put a curfew on you?
100%.
How about her worrying? Did you resent that? Did that make you feel
Mhm.
loved?
I knew she loved me. Never doubted that for sure. But yeah, I was just extremely immature, and I was mad at her. I said, "You're worrying too much. Just let me. I'm gonna be fine. I'm safe. My head's on my shoulders correctly, and I'm looking out for myself, even though I'm under the influence." And I just wanted to stray away from getting in arguments with her. And yeah, it's funny because we kind of just talked about that not too long ago on one of our mother and son dates. And every so often I will apologize, and just now I realized how much stress I put her in. And she'd always say, "You'll understand someday when you have a kid." And I always said, "Nah, like you always say that, but I can understand now." But no, I didn't understand. But yeah, absolutely. There was a lot of late nights um, where we were just fighting. And I mean, coming home drunk, and she just said, "Well, how'd you get here? And what were you doing? I told you to be back at this time, and you're not. This is not you. When's this gonna stop?" I remember hearing that a lot. When is this gonna stop? When is this gonna stop? Um, and I'd always say, I remember one moment she was talking to me from upstairs, and she said, "Nick, when is this going to stop?" And I said, "Mom, I'm not always going to be like this, but right now I'm just going to be young and dumb." And this is the worst response you could say to your mom, because that doesn't sound intelligent at all. But I was intoxicated, and I was like, "Oh, I just want to have fun." And um, yeah, I think kind of looking back at that now is it's something that I never want to put anybody through ever again. And change my relationship with substances and so on. And um, and not every time. I've always been a mama's boy, like I've said. And I definitely treated my mom well, but more so, I'm sure I added some years onto her life in my teenage years for sure, for sure. But now it's still a great relationship. But I think it's still a good thing to reflect and look back on life like that and kind of dissect it too much. And um, I want to say I regret a lot of things I did, but I think if I didn't do those things, and it wouldn't have created the young man I am today. Or I'm almost 27, so the old man I'm almost about to be.
The
So
old
I'm
man,
unk
okay.
status, or whatever these youngsters say nowadays, unk status. But cornball. Yeah, cornball. Good hair. Great hair,
Yeah, I'm
Great
jealous.
hair. You have the upside down. If you just swap the beard up there.
Yeah, it fell through, and then my chin caught it.
Yeah, but yeah, man. Yeah.
After your parents' divorce, did you
Mhm.
stay in touch with your dad, or maybe the better way to word this, did he stay in touch with you?
Sure. My parents divorced. Yeah, so I was 10 years old, and after that, he had moved to a different apartment in Pflugerville, so we would kind of swap weekends. My mother had primary custody, and yeah, every other weekend I'd go over to my dad's house and um, hang out. And then in high school, my older brother wanted to move from Pflugerville to go to Georgetown, so he said, "Hey, the Pflugerville was getting a little bit, I don't want to say dangerous, but he was getting a lot of bomb threats when he was going to the high school in Pflugerville, and it just seemed his stuff was getting stolen and stuff like that. So he kind of recommended, say, hey, maybe we should go to the high school that my father coached at. He coached at Georgetown High School, Eagle Fight, and yeah, so we left and we ended up moving in primarily with my father in high school. So yeah, for about 4 years, we were living with him, hanging out with him. I mean, he was my football coach for about 3 years or so. I stopped playing my junior year, um, but yeah, we were. It was great. My father's discipline is a little bit different than my mother's discipline. I would say my mother was more so of the disciplinarian than my father was. So my dad was more of a friendship with his kids and or with us, and he kind of just let us do whatever. You know, we didn't have a curfew or anything like that. Just kind of had free reign of everything, which probably not a good idea, but it made me crave discipline at the end of high school. But yeah, the last year of high school, I wanted my mother to, be a part of our lives again, and we would see her every now again. But she was really upset because our whole lives she was with us and through school, and then all of a sudden we're not living with her anymore, and that upset her. So she ended up moving to Georgetown the last year of my high school, and I moved back in with her. Like the middle of my junior year, and then senior year, I lived with her as well. So I think I just, I miss my mom, and I wanted her to be in a good spot too in Georgetown, and yeah,
Is that why you stopped playing ball? Just because you moved back?
I stopped playing football because um, I think I just didn't want to have to go to practice. I didn't want to be controlled by the coaches, and um, I liked partying more. I guess I liked going out and drinking and going on weird adventures with my friends and smoking weed, and I was never good academically in high school. My GPA was horrible, and obviously to play football and to do anything sports wise in high school, you have to have a good GPA. You have to keep your grades up, and I didn't want to do that. So I thought, well, I could just leave football and not have to worry about that and just kind of do whatever. So, yeah, I stopped playing football for that reason, so I could smoke marijuana.
So football was getting in the way of your extracurricular activities.
Absolutely, yeah. Yep, for sure.
I would imagine I have been hungover in the past. And,
Mm-hmm.
you typically don't want to wake up and work hard.
No.
That's not the effect
No,
it has on
absolutely
you.
not.
Let's
Deadlift.
go.
Yeah,
That's not
deadlift, all those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. So yeah, that was the smart choice I made. Which, yeah, being sarcastic, it was a bad choice, but because I love football, I love playing sports, but I just kind of thought, well, I'm not gonna go to college for this. I'm not gonna go pro or anything, so I'll just cut it here and yeah, like that, I'm out.
I'm going to ask you a magic ball question,
Mhm.
and these ones are probably the most frustrating ones because
Mhm.
we can speculate, but we can never really know.
Mhm.
Let's say maybe you had, drank a few times and smoked a few times, and you were like, that was fun and fine, but this isn't for me. How do you think life may have turned out differently?
Oh man,
Actually, can I ask that more specifically?
sure.
Do you think you could have stayed in football? Like
Mhm.
when did you start playing? Let's start there.
I started playing in was it sixth grade? I think sixth or seventh grade. I can't remember if they didn't allow us to play in sixth grade. That doesn't sound right. Sixth grade. sixth grade to about the beginning of junior year of high school.
And was
Yeah.
there ever a period where you fell in love enough with it that you did contemplate like, maybe we'll see how far we could take this? Or for you, was it more so just sort of something to do, or what was your relationship with football is what I'm getting at.
Okay. I growing up, I always loved football. I really fell in love with it. I kind of had I guess the younger chunky phase of my life. So I was a lineman. Um, I was center and then pulling guard in football. I wanted to be a receiver. I wanted to be something where I could, catch balls,
Yeah.
And um, yeah, I guess when I started getting a little bit more in shape and active freshman year is kind of really the peak of this is what I want to do. I want to go play college football. And I started watching YouTube videos and just getting real hyped up, real motivated. And yeah, I'd say freshman year, I got a peak of just I could probably go far with this. And then over time, sophomore year, it was still there. Um, but the friend group I had, we started getting older, and I had an older brother. I have an older brother.
A
and he started
16-year-old thinking I'm starting to get older.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. No,
I
no.
interrupted your train of thought. my
No,
bad.
no, please. No, yeah. I thought, well, I'm getting older. I need to, take this a little bit more seriously. But my friends we started getting introduced by, bad habits and testing marijuana or alcohol, and that kind of strays your mindset away from goals at that age, I think, and depending on who you are. And yeah, I started kind of drifting away from sports, and yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed that I did. If I had taken those substances away, I think I could have continued. I played baseball as well, and I think I could have continued with that. And um, yeah, if I didn't have those late night parties or alcohol sessions or the amount of weed circles we had, I would have been in bed earlier and maybe more focused. And I think your environment has a lot in play with what you end up doing. And I think maybe I don't want to say if I chose a different friend group, but maybe if I had more of a leader mindset then, I could have tried saying, hey, maybe we should not do this as much, not smoke weed or drink as much, and just kind of focus on like academics or our football or sports. And I just didn't. It was peer pressure.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You said an interesting word. You said you're disappointed, and another kind thing that was told to me once was when I was talking to a past guest named Josh Vineyard. I was telling him about how I played the piano until I was about probably 24, 25, 26. I don't remember the exact year, but I gave it up, and it wasn't an overnight thing. It went from, I played every day and I was performing in front of people on a regular cadence to a little bit less and a little bit less and a little bit less until one day I realized I haven't touched a piano in 6 months. And at the time I was very disappointed with myself. But the way Josh sort of reacted to that story is he said, well, have you ever been in a relationship, not even necessarily a romantic one, but you have a buddy, let's say Nick, maybe you and Nick met in the gym and you guys were both workout buddies and became instant friends, and you hung out, more often than not for a year. And then one day Nick was like, well, David, I'm moving to Colorado. And then you move to Colorado, and of course you're going to be disappointed, but he's like, but you're not going to regret that time, right? You're not going to be like, man, I regret that year that I had Nick is in my inner circle. And I said, no, of course I want it. I would probably try to stay in touch with them and call them, and I would be very grateful. Or maybe we wouldn't talk, because sometimes when geography becomes a factor, friendships just naturally, they go two separate directions, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And so Josh sort of giving me that relationship analogy gave me a lot of peace. And now that's not something that keeps me up at night. Now I look back on my times when I played the piano, and I'm like, that was just a very specific chapter in life. And I love that chapter, and I'll always remember it fondly, and it will always put a smile on my face.
Yeah.
But I'm not regretful about not playing, and I'm not disappointed that I don't play. I do other things now. I have 2 microphones now, and we talk.
Yeah.
So do you think you're at peace with the fact that you didn't see how far you could have been taking football, or do you think you're still sort of in the disappointed phase where you're trying to give yourself that grace to be like, it's okay that we didn't see how far this went because you picked up a different baton somewhere else?
Yeah. I think I would say I'm at peace with the decision, and with the situation. Yeah, I never look back or talk to friends and say, man, I could have been the best person. I could have been the best player in college. I could have been the best player in pros. I don't think about it too much. I think that was just a chapter of my life, like what you were saying, and what I did during that chapter shaped who I am now. And yeah, I would say I don't think about it too much.
Good. I was trying to remind myself of something real quick that Karina told me, but I think this is the right time to ask this question.
Mm-hmm.
So one question I asked her that she appropriately so was, ask Nick that one yourself. And so ever since she told me that, I have been dying of curiosity. And this could be the most anticlimactic part of this conversation.
The whiskey now, David.
Yeah, let me go get you a shot. Thad, Jamie. What is, let's say we look at life as a book, and every day is a page within that book. Is there any particular day in your life, one page from the book, that just would add a ton of context as to who you ended up being today?
Let's see. I can't say just one specific day, or one pivotal moment. I think it was just. That's a good question. Can I say a few things that kind
Please.
of? Okay. I think when I was about 22 years old, I had a gap from going to a junior college in College Station to moving back home and dropping out of college. And, I was put on academic probation and stuff for the same thing I was doing in high school, the same habits carried on. And I remember coming back home and continuing to do the same thing, just no job, wasn't doing much, just doing little jobs here and there. And I remember one day waking up really hungover, and my mother had given me this book, and it was written by some commander. Oh man, I'm a phony because I can't remember his name, but he was I'm gonna say he was a Navy SEAL, and it's a book called How to Make Your Bed or Make Your Bed or something like that.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
Okay, yeah. A little book,
Yep.
not a long read at all, and I remember reading that book and just some of the values in that book, and just kind of realizing, you can take a couple paths in life, and you can get overwhelmed with, man, I don't like where I'm at right now. I want to be at a different spot. I want to be successful. I do want to be successful, but you can't get too far ahead, and you got to start basic. And so I wanted to start by making my bed the next morning, and just choosing the path of most resistance and the stuff I didn't want to do, the little minute things. I just have a lot of things in my head, and I remember my grandmother wanted me to come and work with her, work in her backyard. She was laying rock, laying tile, fixing up her backyard. So I was just digging holes in the backyard and just digging holes for room to put bricks in because she wanted to have a whole backyard of just kind of Spanish style stuff, and a lot of really good conversations with her and what you want out of life, and just kind of talking to her about how to make a mental shift on getting over bad habits and stuff. And yeah, I think just waking up one morning and just being just violently hungover and just realizing, my life could be full of this and this does not feel good. And yeah, just not wanting to be a piece of shit, just wanted to. I was just in my room, my mom's house, and I didn't have a voice. I felt like I didn't have a voice. I had nothing to show for, and a lot of thoughts laying in that bed, thinking, no, if I just died randomly next week, what do I have to show for? Just like high school and just classic stuff that most high schoolers go through, just doing stupid stuff and playing sports and not really making a name for myself. If somebody asked, hey, who's Nick? And he died at 22, he'd say, oh, well, he was just funny guy, just he's always, making someone laugh or laughing and just being goofy. And I wanted more. And yeah, just making that step of slow progress. Just am I answering the questions? I feel like I'm just talking out my ass over here. And I can't say it was just one specific moment, but just a couple of moments over time. Yeah, working at my grandmother's house and her just she's a very wise lady, and just talking to me and talking to my mom, and yeah, I feel like that was a horrible answer.
It was a beautiful answer.
Okay. Yeah.
So 22 years old, in bed, hungover, contemplating.
Mm-hmm.
If I died right now,
Mm-hmm.
if I walked out this door and got hit by a bus.
Yeah, it happens,
It does happen,
Mm-hmm,
unfortunately.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've had that moment too, but I don't think I was that young. And I think, unfortunately, there's more people who, similar to you, they're starting to think about this like that one we started with at younger ages.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, open that list back up for a minute. I can take those from you if you want.
Thanks, David.
Would you either circle or underline or put a mark next to the ones that you felt like you most resonated with again? And you want this for a second?
Yeah. Thanks, David.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let me see that again. Before we move on, you want to reheat coffees, use the bathroom, take a little 3 to 5 minute breather?
I'd love to take a pee. That's cool.
I need to as well.
Okay,
Selfish.
right.
I'm being so.
No,
but you do
totally
too,
fine.
so
Yeah,
that's perfect.
absolutely.
Let's take a break.
Okay, let's do it.
So one funny thing that Karina said was that she said being with you has been a stimulating experience because you're very intellectual, but he's also very goofy. He's always searching for new possibilities, and he'll have these experiences where he'll go get a haircut. As you're walking out, you're like, huh, being a barber would be sort of cool.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Yeah. Yeah, man.
I feel like you just got more nervous for where that was going than anything
'cause
else,
I-
because your
Yeah.
arms went up. I saw you physically put your guard
I
up.
gotta
of,
watch that
Oh
'cause
no!
I do little signs.
What's
Yeah.
What's he about to
Yeah,
say?
for sure. Yeah. Well, yeah. No, I'm glad that was said. Again, she could have said anything. I would have been okay with it. So.
Good. So, for Nick, the goals that he resonated with, or maybe the anti-goals, did you put parentheses next to the ones that you resonate with the most? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So he said he wants to sit on his best ideas instead of acting on them. I want to numb myself with addiction. I want to waste the gifts I was given. I want to make excuses instead of making changes. That's one of his biggest. I want to know what I could have been and never become it. I know you gave us one of your excuses, the classic one with Mom, where you said, I just want to be young and dumb right now, which I'm sure she really liked. But that was when you were 17. Around the time when you were 22, what was some of your excuses? How were you justifying the lack of job, lack of voice, lack of, what you would have been doing if you weren't in your extracurricular activities, as I like to jokingly call them. What was your excuse at the time? Do you remember how you justified all this?
I remember it was, I can start next week. I can have a good time now, but I'll start tomorrow. I'll really hone in and start the grind tomorrow. Or I'll have fun this week. Okay, but next week I'm really gonna start. And it was always that procrastination. I still struggle with procrastination. So I remember that excuse. Yeah, always just saying I'll start it tomorrow. I'll really get after it. But of course I didn't.
Were you showing up for yourself in any way, shape, or form, in the sense of not to make it seem like you were like this complete degenerate or anything?
Right. No,
but did you have something going? Like, were you staying consistent in the gym, or you were reading consistently, or you were in a relationship? But was there something where you also had this like physical thing where you're like, no, we still showed up at the gym today. I'm okay. I can drink tonight.
Yeah, for sure. 100% that. I was always, consistent with, I would run. I loved running, so I would go run and hit the gym. I always wanted my physical appearance to be somewhat decent, and I wanted to at least sweat out, or that was everything, what you said. Yeah, if I go to the gym today, if I hit a run today, then I've earned the night where I can drink, and I won't feel as guilty about it. So if anything I showed up for, it was the gym or going on a run. But of course, when you're extremely hungover, you don't always make it to the gym or go run. But as far as consistency goes, the gym or running, for sure. Mostly running at that time. But yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, let me get that some context. That's crazy because I hate cardio. So I would imagine if I put myself in a position where I was hungover, and David could go do something, like I've shown up at work hungover and I was able to get through fine. I won't do the whole list because this isn't my episode. But again, the crazy comment was like, to run hungover. Oh yeah, that is you hated yourself.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's why I wanted to do it, because I deserve to just hate this right now because I drank. I did all the bad stuff, so I need to sweat it all out, and I need to cause myself some sort of pain because at least there's some benefit from it. I'm working out, but as far as recovery goes, you're really not doing much for yourself. But yeah.
If the answer to this is a very simple no, that is fine. Was there anything that you were in pain about? Was there any, or maybe not even pain, an anger, a resentment, a frustration where when you did start drinking, it sort of helped that frustration or that pain or that loneliness go away for a few minutes, or was it more so just it was fun until it wasn't?
I'd say a little bit of both, but primarily it was trying to forget the feeling of I have no idea what I want to do with my life, and I have no sense of direction, and at least I'll go out and drink with my friends and have a good time and talk about very surface level things. I don't have to think about the fact that I'm still living with my mom and I really don't have a job. I'm bouncing around. Other friends, other people I knew were in college and graduating and getting jobs, and I just was nowhere. I was going nowhere. So yeah, 100%. I was trying to forget all of that and just think, well, I'll have a good time tonight. And that needle just stays right where it's at and starts going down the more I do that. The needle progression, and it's just, but you know, you forget about that when you're 30 million beers deep, you know? So
Yeah, 30 million.
30 million, yeah.
Tank.
Yeah.
I want to know what I could have been and never become it. Did you hear that too?
I did.
Okay, I was going to say, when you can hear that through the headphones, that's just Thad trying to have a voice. He's like, I don't have a voice either. He never puts me in the chair and interviews me. Sorry.
No,
this
you're
is a
fine.
Stupid
No.
joke.
No, David, that's stupid. Never a stupid
I
joke.
want to know what I could have been and never become it. That's a heavy one.
Mm-hmm.
So take us from 22-year-old, I'm lying on my bed contemplating, would anyone have anything positive to say about me if I died today,
Mm-hmm.
to the guy I know sitting across from me today?
Mm-hmm.
What happened during those 5 years?
Oh, it was a lot of. I got to give it to just repeating the same thing over and over again, and repeating the same thing when I say that. I mean, just never. Just. Sorry.
He did it. So for the audience, as we're trying to have this serious moment, Thad is doing some things with some blankets, making it look like I actually have some paranormal activity going on in my home right now. He really likes to burrow, but sometimes he has some difficulty figuring out, how am I going to get under this blanket? And he's knocking blankets off chairs. And he's like, fuck. And then he's like, all right, now we got this one on the back of the chair. Can I somehow use my head to sort of burrow under this one? But I think he did it. He stopped moving, right?
I think so.
Yeah, it's hard to see over there. We got some lights.
Good dog. Okay, I'm sorry. The question.
You were talking about 22 to 27, and there's
Mhm.
a lot of repetition.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, a lot of repetition, a lot of just, you know, a lot of trying new things, trying new habits, seeing which ones worked, which ones didn't, which ones moved me towards the right direction, and which ones helped me feel a little bit better about myself and helped me achieve different things, and say, okay, if those habits I'm achieving more, I'm feeling a little bit better about myself, and if I'm doing right by those habits, and if I start making no sense, just gotta let me know, because sometimes I'll be yapping. But yeah, just trial and error, and the ones that succeeded, I would just repeat those over and over again, and then over time, I would go back a little bit, and then go forward, and go back, and then go more forward, and just waking up every day, and just wanting to just try hard, wanting to push against resistance, and over time, you get the 1% rule. You get 1% a little bit better, and then not to say I didn't have some setbacks still, but it was still the thought of, I had this vision in my head of, you know, I'm gonna be successful. I'm gonna be who I think I should be. I'm gonna be a person who I think I should be. I'm gonna use who I am and really make a name for myself in a sense. And I need to do everything I can to get closer towards that goal. And honestly, I read some good books and some good motivation, helped me with that. And I would even turn on YouTube, David Goggins motivation, and listen to that going running, or just kind of, I would journal a lot, and I would write down my thoughts of today. And I remember sitting down and saying, okay, what makes me feel good? What are some good habits that I'm doing? What are some bad habits I'm doing? And just seeing that physically on paper kind of helped gauge it just helped me kind of which ones I can eliminate a little bit better. So, waking up early, hitting the gym, reading a couple pages a day, telling one person a day something nice about themselves, whether it's shoes or, I like your shirt, doing right by others, and just staying consistent and trying to stay as aware as I can, and just constant reflecting, and it felt like a little, like a scribe all the time, because I was just writing things down. And I remember, I know where these journals are, and sometimes I'll open them back up again and just see the thoughts I had during these days of hardships, and then I write down, okay, I felt really bad today. What are some things I did today? And I'd write those down. And I missed a workout, I slept late, I ate bad food, I was rude today, got in a fight with the mom, and how can I, some controllable things, what are some things I can control and eliminate, so that I can keep moving forward instead of back a little bit. So it was just doing that over and over and over again, and just kind of slowly started coming out of my bubble a little bit more. And just, I wanted things to change right now, but I had to be realistic and understand that things just don't happen overnight. Some things do, but it's just going to take a lot of just, working hard. And yeah.
Do you happen to remember? Well, you sort of said that already. Was there any particular journal entry that either in the moment or when you reread it, probably when you reread it, where you were like, man, I actually thought that. I actually wrote that down.
I think I had a bad day, and I wrote down some things that contributed to that bad day. And at the very end, I wrote, this is not who you are, and you know that. Yeah, I can't remember exactly. I'm sure it had to do with missing certain habits that I was trying to get better at, and just not following through with things. And I remember writing just, this is not who you are. You are a better person. This is not you. This is what you did. And at the very end of that, I would always put, love you, buddy, or love you, Nick, and then sign my name a little bit. And that was kind of my inner voice talking to the Nick, the Nick that I'm portraying to be in society. So I think that little voice just kind of chirps at the end of whatever I've written, whether good or bad. And I just want to remind myself that, even if you have bad days, it doesn't have to be, that's not who you are. That just might be what you've done that day. And just reminding yourself, you got this. I would write, you got this, love you. You're doing good. So, yeah, I guess that's the specific thing that jumps out at me when you ask me that.
I love you.
I love you too, David.
Thanks,
and
dog.
we just met. I've known you long. I love you.
Yeah, I might ask my therapist this Wednesday. He every now and then he'll talk about some things very high level, but he'll let me ask him a question like the one I'm thinking about asking him now is how if you gave me like a rough percentage of your patients that you've seen either now or in the past who they stumbled into your office because of reasons X, Y, and Z,
Mm-hmm.
but then through that self-exploration journey, they found out that they just sort of had a hatred for themselves. But
Mm.
maybe they realized it, maybe they didn't. I'd be
Mm-hmm.
curious what his answer is, because I've been where you're at, where I've started to see when David does the things he likes. I've had this not necessarily a light bulb moment, because it never really happened on one day
Mm-hmm.
or as one event, but I did something where I was like, that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like
Yep.
that version of David.
Yep.
And then you sort of look back and you're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like how David's doing when he's doing all those other
Yeah.
things. So it's just so relatable,
Yeah. Yeah. For
and,
sure.
and so that's why I love these conversations. Real quick, I want to show the audience how, if you can start doing the repetitive things that you like and you stop doing the repetitive things that you don't like, how your life might change. And so we're going to do some real-time journaling together, okay?
Okay. Let's do it.
What are you most happy about in life right now?
Mm. My mindset. That's what I would say. Yeah. Mindset. Um. Just the ability to. I guess it's kind of broad, but the mindset of just wanting to do better every day. Um, it's just something I think about a lot. Just my mindset now versus what it used to be in my younger 20s.
Do you think it's almost more like, I was telling a friend the other day that going to the gym is almost like a default thing for us. We don't really have to like plan it or think about it too much. It's just sort of like, oh, work's over. Where does our mind naturally default to where we're going to go to next?
Mm-hmm.
The gym.
Mm-hmm.
And then even like eating healthy, it's again, it's another default. We don't really, it's not but it's because we've been doing it for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you were at 22, you were default negative habits, or you were default drinking, and now your default, I'm going to be respectful. Now
Mm-hmm.
your default,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go to work. Now your default,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
maybe that's what you mean by mindset, is you changed all your default of as to like what
Yeah.
direction you go to.
Yeah. That's very fair. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, defaulting them to more positive things for sure. Working, lifting, yeah, instead of drinking, or instead of going out at night, maybe just making a good bowl of yogurt and watching a movie, instead of, yeah, just shifting habits, getting addicted to those habits that are actually good. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, it makes total sense. My third eye is opening up. Yeah, yeah.
What are you most excited about right now?
Um, recently I'm trying to work for Austin Travis County EMS, so I'm hoping that the interview process goes well, and I'm very excited about where my career could potentially lead me to, and um, in personal relationships as well with Karina and friendships, and yeah, I feel like a new chapter is turning over slowly, and yeah, I really want to be in. Yeah, I'm most excited about the way my relationships are right now, and career wise for sure.
What are you the most proud about?
Mm. Wow. What am I most proud about? Hmm. That's one that I've always tried to journal about, and my pen stops moving, and I'm kind of just sitting there a little bit, and I go, I'm most proud about the way I treat people, I would say. Um, I'm most proud about being a good listener, unless I'm completely oblivious and I'm a bad listener. But yeah, I'm most proud about the way I treat people. Um, I think through everything that's happened in my life, you know, besides having those rough moments with some family members and stuff like that, I've still stuck with just being nice to people. So I'm glad I haven't ever turned that leaf into I'm going to be bitter about life and just hate everyone and be rude to people. So I just can't. It's hard for me to, that's why when you approached me in the gym, I never thought came out of mind as this person's a stranger. He could be a weirdo. I'm just going to push this guy away. No, I've always been, just open and just nice. I like being nice. So, yeah, I would say that.
You are very nice, by the way.
Thank you, David. You are too.
Yeah, before we started recording, Nick asked me a couple questions about the podcast, and I told him that Zen is hitting immediate and hard. And you listen to my stories. That's always a very kind thing to do. What are you most grateful for in life right now?
I am most grateful for the people in my bubble. I'm very grateful for friends and family that have stuck by me through my errors in life and have stuck around when I haven't been the best. I haven't been the best version of me. I'm very grateful for my mother still sticking by my side. I'm very grateful for Karina that has stuck by my side through, some trials that we've faced, and my friends that have been there for me. And yeah, they must see something decent in me to still stick by my side, So I'm very grateful for my friends and family, for sure. No doubt.
Where are you having the most fun right now?
On my motorcycle.
Yeah. How long you had it for?
Since November. So not even a year, just a few months.
Why is it so fun to you?
You feel free. You feel like you're doing something that's dangerous, and you get that adrenaline, and you feel cool on it, and it's something I've always wanted since I was a kid, and you just feel free on it. So yeah, that's I'm having a lot of fun on that for sure. I'm being safe for sure, but motorcycle.
That was a good answer.
Yeah.
That was a good answer. Yeah, I saw you came in from that direction, and when I saw you, I know who. We only have 2 neighbors with motorcycles, and I was like, oh, that's not one of my neighbors, and it's about that time. Is that Nic Patterson on that motorcycle? That's pretty cool.
I'm stalling and stuff. But I'm still learning how to ride. Yeah. Super cool.
I think I know the answer to this question, but this is my favorite one on this list, so I'm going to ask it. It's a 2-part one. Part 1, who do you love?
I love my mother. I love Karina. And I love my closest friends. Fox. Shout out to Fox. Dean. Ashley from work. My buddies. I got some old friends that stuck with me through high school and now, even though, like you were saying, geographically, he's moved away, but Mason, Trey, got a good buddy, Gus, and I must be missing a name or something, but I'd say the majority of that group that's in my life, that I spend time with the most is, Fox, Dean, Karina, my mom, and Ashley as well. Like they're just great people. Yeah, they've been there for me even when they haven't realized it, and just talking with them makes me just appreciate being alive a little bit more, So that's the first things that come to my mind, Yeah.
Second part of that question, who loves you? Should we just flip that list?
Yeah.
You want me just to read that same mom, Karina,
Yep.
Fox, Dean?
Yeah. Hopefully. Hopefully they love me. But we I always try to end the conversations with Dean and Fox. And Mason, when I give him a call every now and then, because he lives in Uvalde, Texas, so we chat, not as much as we should, but specifically, my boys, Dean and Fox, every time every 2 weeks or every few weeks, we'll give each other a chat, just kind of check in. Always call your bros, your fellow guys, and at the end of it, we always say, "I love you, man." So yeah, it just feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
I tell my friends that as well. I was listening. Do you know who
Mhm.
Simon Sinek is?
I feel like the name sounds familiar.
I think people are going to be shouting at the screen when I misrepresent him, but I think he's maybe started with like a TED Talk and it did so well that now he's gone on to. I know he has his own podcast. I know he's written a few books. I know he does some public speaking, and I think that's sort of he's like a modern day Tony Robbins sort of.
Okay.
That might be a bad comparison, but that's to give you someone who Tony or of
Yes.
Tony.
Yeah.
I think he's like
Absolutely.
a modern day Tony Robbins, but he
Mhm.
did an interview recently, and he was saying after he got through some of his own challenges that he had this realization, of just the cliche like how short life is, and he wanted
Mhm.
everyone who he truly loved to know that he loved them. And
Mhm.
so he started telling his friends and his family whenever he leaves them, whether it's a phone call in person, just like you do,
Mhm.
"I love you." And he said there's this one friend in particular when he said it to him for the first time, he sort of bristled up a little bit. And then the next time he saw him, he told him, I love you, Nick. And he even gave him a hug. And he said, when I hugged him, I could feel the tension.
Yeah.
And he hasn't said it back yet. And it took him 5, 6, 7, 10 times
Mhm.
before whoever this particular friend finally said, "I love you too, Simon." But it took some time.
Yeah.
And so I have one friend. He's a newer friend in my life, and
Mhm.
we've only known each other for about 6 months.
Mhm.
But I just have this feeling that when I say it to him the first time, it's gonna be the reaction of like dead silence. He's not gonna say it back,
Yeah.
or maybe he'll be like, "Okay, David," or like.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I saw him 7, 8, 9, 10 days ago, and I didn't say it. I chickened out because I got afraid.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still get afraid. I
Yeah.
think we all probably do. I don't think that goes away. It just the fear just changes.
Absolutely.
But I'm
Yeah.
trying to build up the courage to just the next time you see him, just fucking say it. Just
Yeah.
tell him. And maybe maybe he's the one that needs to hear it most.
Mhm. Yeah.
There's some things going on in his life right now, and I won't say because it's not my story to tell. But part of the reason I want to say it to him the most is because the one time I did get sentimental with him, his reaction was beautiful, and I didn't tell him I loved him, but we were talking about something else over text. And he sent me a text back and said, "This conversation meant a lot to me. I was crying while we were having it." And it's just like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah.
Yeah, man.
We're breaking through, but I'm
Mhm.
still afraid. Even though
Yeah.
he's admitted to me that he cries,
Yeah.
my toughest friend, my most manly friend,
Yeah.
I feel like maybe he's I just need to tell him
Yeah,
and
man.
fight through those 8 very awkward, you know.
Gotta fight through it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, that's awesome, man. Yeah.
So I'm glad you do that with your friends.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's sort of pivot towards EMS a little bit.
Okay.
So you're 22, you have no job, no direction. Did you stumble upon the EMS? Were you working at different places for 6 months and you're like, hate this, quit? What was the? It's a term that someone told me about recently. I feel like you may have been scratching, and this analogy is that sometimes in life you feel like you're in a pitch black room and you're just scratching at the wall until you finally find the doorknob and you can open it up and see the light.
Yeah.
So did you scratch your way into EMS by chance, or was it a little bit more intentional?
I like the scratch analogy. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of just, I kind of was thinking, what's a job I could get that I don't need some college degree for, that that would involve helping someone or being on my feet or something cool, is what I really thought. And unfortunately, I thought, okay, what's an easy thing I could get that would, that would pay decently and give me some sort of pride, and I thought, okay, firefighter. I didn't know. I had some friends from high school that went on and became firefighters, but not super close contact with them. But yeah, I thought, okay, I could be a firefighter. I could be on my feet. That'd be cool. That's what I really thought. I was younger. I was like, this would be kind of cool. I could be a firefighter. And I thought, okay, so what does that entail? And you need to get your EMT basic certification. And so I was looking at classes and just kind of researching a little bit. and there was an EMT class being held at it's called EMTS Academy. It's within the building of Texas State and Round Rock campus, so the prices were pretty decent, and I didn't have a lot of money, so my mother paid for that at the time, and I paid her back, and um, yeah, I wanted to be a firefighter, so I was just gonna get through the EMT stuff, and yeah, I wish it was a better. I wanted to help people, which yeah, absolutely I do, but more so during that time, I was like, oh, this would be cool. So something easy, but it's not easy, and yeah, I took my EMT class, and I really liked the medicine part of it. I loved the teamwork um, part of it, and I met some really cool people in EMT class. My instructors were paramedics, and I looked up to them, and I thought they were so cool, just being in an instructor uniform, and they carried themselves well, and I remember the program director, Matt Nealon, would come in, and he just had this energy of if anything goes wrong, this guy appears to know what to do in that situation. And I thought that would be really cool to be the person that people look for or look at when things are stressful and a little chaotic. So yeah, I fell in love with the medicine side of it, and a young lady came in at the last day of my EMT class offering kind of a grant to pay for paramedic school. It was Senate Bill 8 or 9 after COVID happened. And so I emailed them, and they sponsored me through paramedic school, so I didn't have to pay for anything. And it's around $10,000, and I didn't have that. So the caveat of that would, if I failed paramedic school, then I'd have to pay back that money. So there's my motivation right there. And yeah, the leadership roles that we were thrown into in paramedic school, I started noticing the way I carried myself was a little bit different. And just putting on that uniform to go to school, I just felt like, okay, I'm wearing this. I need to be, I need to be a good person. I need to be a hard worker. I kind of have to wear this mask in a sense of, someone that's going to help someone out. And over time, it started integrating more into my personality and bringing out more things in my personality that I didn't realize. And I just started noticing how overcoming struggles and overcoming uncomfortable situations just made you feel so powerful. And it really showed you that it showed me that you anyone can really do anything as long as they're willing to get past the uncomfortable moment and the fear, you know. Um, so yeah, I graduated paramedic school, started working out in a rural service, and I still work there now. And 2 years later, I'm still doing it, and yeah, just kind of figuring it out. And I'm an instructor at EMTS now, so those people I looked up to as instructors when I was a student, they're now my coworkers, and yeah, I had a started building my relationship with the program director there, and he recently just asked if he could be my mentor, and so I've never had a mentor or anything like that, but yeah, I was emotional when he asked me that question, and I kind of had flashbacks of, man, everything. I feel like I'm right where I need to be right now. That if things are finally starting to pay off because you wanted to do the hard things, and um, yeah, I'm probably talking too much. But
No,
yeah.
no,
I
this
guess this is the whole point. But yeah, yeah, yeah. It just things do pay off when you just stick to some pretty basic values, just following through with your word, being honest, and showing up when you're supposed to show up, showing up on time, and just doing a good job. What is that? Under promising and overachieving on things, and um, yeah, it does pay off over time. You have to be patient with it, but yeah.
What's your official? I know you said you're an instructor EMTS.
Mm-hmm.
What's your like official title? Not as the instructor, but you're also like a.
So I'm a credentialed paramedic. So um, I'm a paramedic with a 911 service. So I'm an ambulance responding to.
Sorry,
No, you're fine.
that's my. I'm usually done
Oh.
recording this time of night.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little reminder I have to say a quick prayer.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
busy, God. Well, pray.
Coming up-
I'll,
yeah.
I'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah. That's cool. And if we need to wrap it up, David, you let me know.
No.
Okay.
We do
Okay.
not. We do not need to wrap it up.
Okay.
This is the most fun I've had all day, and I would not want to be anywhere else.
Great. Likewise. So yeah, I'm a credentialed, certified paramedic on a 911 at a 911 service, and I do work on an ambulance. And then on my off days, we work 48 hours on, so 2 days on, and then we have 96 hours off, so 4 days off. Yeah, it's pretty nice. So, yeah, during that time, I still wanted. I thought, okay, 4 days is quite a long time. So, what else can I do? And right when I graduated paramedic school, I emailed Alex that she works at EMTS as well, and I wanted to be an instructor. I wanted to just further help out and help continuing my own learning, and at the same time helping other new people learn. And so yeah, when I'm not working on my 911 service job, I'm teaching at the Texas State Building with EMTS Academy. And then I used to do concerts and stuff like that as a contract job, working at concerts in Austin. I've worked at Stubbs Barbecue when they had concerts, or Circuit of Americas, MotoGP, and Peso Pluma. He's a Hispanic artist, and just concert stuff like that. They need EMTs and paramedics standby, so get paid to watch someone perform is pretty awesome. And so, yeah, certified paramedic, and then I instruct EMT classes and paramedic classes as well. Kind of help out with skills and quizzes and exams and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I had a cop on last year, maybe 2 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
But he was telling me how, like, when you see cops in front of like a church, it's usually because those churches have hired them to be there.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
And I said and you just sort of brought back that memory when I asked Wes. I was like, you can hire a cop? And he's like, yeah, you can hire a cop.
I didn't know that either.
You can hire a paramedic.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I wonder
yeah.
if you can hire a firefighter. Can you hire a firefighter to be on standby at your local concert?
I bet you could. For the right price, I bet you could.
Maybe for my next live show, to make it seem like it's a lot bigger than it really is, I'll hire a couple cops.
Yeah.
Do some subliminal marketing.
Yeah, that would look really cool.
Oh, there's
yeah.
cops there? This is a big deal. We should go in.
Yeah,
see what this live podcast is about.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Yeah, man.
What's been a funny 911 call that you responded to?
Oh man. I guess there's quite a bit. I'm like, which one? I don't want to get in trouble. I'm like, okay, HIPAA. But yeah, no, it's not going to be a.
And you don't have to answer that question. I just thought it'd be a fun one to sort of.
Yeah, no, for sure.
To throw your way, and you could keep it as high level as you want.
Okay.
It could even just be something ridiculous, like one time we responded because someone accidentally put something up their butt and they couldn't get it out, and
yeah.
Whatever you think, and it won't get you in trouble.
Okay.
As well.
Okay. I'll say, man, I'll say there's a gentleman that called 911 for having hiccups. He had yeah, and it's funny because at this time I had just the call before that was a cardiac arrest that we achieved return of spontaneous circulation, so he came back to life, and then he refused care, so he did not go to the hospital. So I got joked with about that is who gets a refusal, which is just you don't transport them to the hospital after someone was dead. So yeah, so the call before that was a cardiac arrest or CPR, and then the one right after that was a gentleman had been having hiccups for about 2 days, and yeah, that was a funny call. He just was having hiccups and he was worried about it. So yeah, I'm not there to judge. That could be an underlying issue for something. So yeah, that was pretty funny. The other ones I'm gonna stray away from because I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I'd say the most recent one that was pretty funny. Yeah.
I'm here to judge. No,
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
you can judge.
No,
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
I'm judging eternally. But yeah.
I'm because you are in medicine.
Hmm.
Do you watch much medical TV, or do you avoid it because you're like, I just came off this for 48 hours. Why would I want to watch this show?
Yeah.
Or do you enjoy it?
I think I enjoy the good ones. I used to watch a long time ago Grey's Anatomy a little bit, but I don't watch that at all anymore. But I guess yeah, I don't mind watching medical shows at all. I think it's what I love to do, so I love to be involved with. So of course, some things they show on TV, it's not reality. That's
Right.
not how things would be done, but Hollywood. But yeah, I'd say I watched the new show, The Pitt, that has come out, and I think that's really great. And that one's pretty medically accurate. I've heard it's one of the most accurate shows as far as medicine goes and how things go. So yeah, I still enjoy submerging myself in medicine. I still think it's really fun. So yeah.
Do you watch I also watched The Pit.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite shows I've ever watched.
Mm-hmm.
And watching season 2 right now is hard because season 1, I was able to binge that boy in like
Oh,
4
yeah.
days.
Oh,
And
yeah.
now I'm like, one a week? My God,
Yeah,
this
I
is
know.
terrible.
Yeah.
In
Mm-hmm.
season 1, one of the things I really liked about it is, do you remember how in every episode they would have one funny case that
Mhm.
would get maybe 1 or 2 minutes of attention, but
Mhm.
it just sort of lightened the mood of the episode
Yeah.
a little bit?
Yeah.
Like the lady with the cockroach in her ear. You
Yeah.
remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of those are just, I was laughing out loud when she's screaming and then you see the cockroach file into the
Oh,
little tray. And,
God, yeah.
and dude, that show is just masterfully done.
Yeah,
The
I agree.
pacing, the characters, the
Mhm.
cases they choose. Even just the fact that they bring in like the social workers and you're
Mhm.
seeing, nurses get punched, and
Mhm.
you're seeing so much perspective of we just assume it's this place and
Mhm.
you get a little help, but
Mhm.
it's a fascinating perspective that I haven't had before.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's a whole different side of it that I learned going into it that I had no idea. I thought it was very black and white almost, but there's a lot of gray area and a lot of things that get missed. And yeah, I agree. It brings to light a lot of things that we don't know about.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What's I would imagine that you see a lot of difficult things as well. You
Mhm.
mentioned the heart attack patient or cardiac arrest, as you put it. Um, if you don't want to tell any stories related to this, you don't have to. If you want to and you decide you want me to edit it out, I can
Mhm.
do that too. If you wanted to check in with your superiors and be like, hey, I told this guy about this one case,
Mhm.
can it stay in or should we take it out? We also could sort of ask this question more generically and say, when you're seeing people at their toughest moments, you seem like a pretty empathetic person.
Mhm.
Does that weigh on you? Do you carry that with you, or are you pretty good at, once you leave the house, the hospital room, once you unload them from the ambulance, do you sort of, not in a heartless way, but have
Sure.
you? I think they just said it in last week's episode of The Pit, is we sort of have to emotionally detach ourselves from
Yeah.
our patients.
Mhm.
Are you good at doing that, or does it stay with you throughout the day where you're like, man, fuck, I wonder what happened with that patient?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question. I think almost every patient I always wonder. I wonder what they discovered at the hospital. I wonder if what I was doing was kind of going down the right path of what I think is going on with them. And yeah, because I do care about them. And when we're on scene or in somebody's house and they have family members that are there, um, you know, you kind of you have a sense of responsibility for them, and then you almost feel not part of the family, but um, you're that person that they're leaning on in potentially one of the hardest moments in their life. But I think maybe I'm still new. I know 2 years I still feel like a baby to this still, and medicine's always changing every week, every day, every second it seems. But I almost, when I drive into work, I almost feel as if it's a video game, and that this is not my reality. This is reality, but I think it helps too that it's in a different town. So I'm on the highway, and I feel kind of like I'm slowly transitioning into the paramedic Nick instead of the Nick I am here. And I think I am pretty good about detaching from things, from calls, and I try not to let it bother me. And I think sometimes it does. I've definitely been sad before about the outcome of a patient or the situation, but at the same time, I realize that it is life, and there's a lot of bad things that happen in life and negative things. So I try to just accept that. And if I feel weird about anything, or if I'm starting to feel down, um, my peers that are also my friends, they're very receptive and talking about anything you might be bothered with. So I think just having that support system at work helps a ton. But I mean, humans, you're still human behind the uniform in a sense. So yeah, I mean, things are, yeah, you'll lose sleep some nights or have dreams and stuff like that, but it's still exciting to want to be a part of that and to want to help with whatever's going on. But yeah, does that make it? Sometimes I feel like I'm making no sense because my ADHD kicks in and I'm like, but
Well, you got to give yourself more credit.
mm,
I do notice that when you're answering questions, you sort of lock in. Not to say you're not locked in now
mm-hmm,
that I'm talking again,
mm-hmm,
but I don't know. You know what will be interesting for you? I bet if you listen to this full episode from start to finish when it comes out in about 3 or 4 weeks,
mm-hmm.
you will have forgotten most of what we've talked about,
Oh,
and you're gonna
really?
be like, "I said that. I said that. He asked me that question." And it's not a bad thing, but I think that when we're here in podcast land, as I call it, you're
Mm-hmm.
sort of in my alter ego universe. And when
Mm,
you're in someone else's element, I think that it just has this effect on you where even though we're stone cold sober, you
mm-hmm,
sort of black out in a sense. And then when
mm,
you have this unique opportunity to re-listen to a conversation, because usually in life we're not on microphones,
mm-hmm.
that you start to realize, or I don't know, you just forget it. And that's why you probably feel like your ADHD is coming out a little bit right
Mm-hmm.
now, but it's not at all.
Okay. Uh, yeah, I honestly, I feel like the beginning of the interview, I'm thinking, what did we talk about when we took our little break? I was like, I don't even remember what we were talking about, because maybe I do kind of black out and lock in a little bit and be a little bit robotic in a sense, but not in a negative way or anything. But yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
I heard something that I hope is true. I meant to fact check it. I was
Mm-hmm.
actually just thinking about this like 2 nights ago, but I didn't want to open my phone because I was going to bed. I was like, do this tomorrow, and I didn't do it. But I heard that back like hundreds, maybe even thousands of years ago, when
Mm-hmm.
armies would come back from war, one of the very first things that they did was they would get together in different pockets of 5, 10, 30 people, and maybe it was around a bonfire, and they would all tell war stories. Before they
Mm.
even went back home to their families, the soldiers would sit around the campfire together, and they would talk about whatever was on their mind, who they
Mm-hmm.
killed, who got killed, everything that they saw and that they were exposed to. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, for you and your colleagues, have you ever found you guys getting back from a difficult call and you get back to the are you based out of the fire station? Where do you go during those 48 hours?
Yeah, so two of our stations are integrated with fire. We're in the firehouse, but then the other three of them, we're kind of just separate. We have our own little station. But we have beds and recliners and TVs and kitchens and toilets and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, we absolutely get back from, it's me and another EMT, and our captain will respond as well, and we'll get back, and whoever, if the crew is at the station still, sometimes there's one station we have that another crew is with us. There's two ambulances, and we have a group chat as well. And if there's a rough call or it looks crazy, 100% they want to know what happened, and we just talk about it for sometimes a few hours, and just dissecting everything and just getting it all out. So yeah, 100% we do that. Yeah, people are asking questions. Why'd you do that? Oh, you did that? That's really cool. Did you think about this? You think about that? So yeah, it's always, the majority of the time it's always a very positive thing to just debrief and dissect everything and kind of share what you saw and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a great thing to debrief anything
Yeah.
after that. But yeah.
Is there any call that you're nervous for that you haven't been exposed to yet? That maybe you heard about in class, or maybe you even seen on the Pit, and you're just like, man, that's gonna be me one day. And you're just gonna have to go. There's not gonna be like, oh, well, I wasn't
Yeah.
I'm not ready for this.
Yeah.
The call has come in.
Mm-hmm.
You and your team are up. Is there any particular thing that you think you're sort of apprehensive of?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was on a recent episode of the Pit. It's you know, cricothyrotomy, or a tracheotomy. You have to cut a hole in somebody's neck if their airway closes up. So that one, we can do that. But whether it's from a traumatic scene, or something horrible happened to them through a car accident or anything traumatic, or if they're having an anaphylactic reaction, their throat closes up, and if we give a certain medication, epinephrine, it doesn't shrink, and you can't intubate someone or put a tube down someone's neck and breathe for them, then you have to cut a hole in their neck. Or if somebody's coming out of a burning building and their nose has soot in it, and it just kind of looks burned, and they're saying it's hard to breathe, you open up their airway and it's inflamed and it just looks burnt, then that's the first thing I'm thinking of, is if this closes up, I can't put a tube in their neck. I got to cut their neck open. So 100%, I think that's on. I don't want to speak for every provider, but I would say that criking somebody would have to be something they're very nervous about, because it's an intense situation, and you can't mess it up. If you mess it up, they die. So you gotta lock in for sure. But I would absolutely be nervous about that for sure. I'm waiting on the day.
I have been able to watch all of the Pit so far.
Mm-hmm.
That was one scene where in my head I had a quick internal debate of, do I want to put my head down for this? And not even because I have to do it one day, but just to watch that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I know they're going to show it. They are going to show it. They're not going to shy away from this. And I was like, no, David, watch.
Yeah, you have to watch.
And then she did it, and such a cool end to the scene where why am I blanking on his name? Dr. Robbie asks her, how many times have you done that? And she says, that was my first. And then the surgeon comes in and is like, well, guess we're going to ship this guy upstairs so he can clean up the mess that you made.
Yep,
and she says, or maybe they'll thank us for saving their patient's
Yep,
life.
I just watched that one.
Boom! Best
There's a liner.
comeback ever.
Great scene.
But she's growing on me. The new doctor, I didn't dislike her at first, but every episode I'm like, I'm liking her more and more as things progress.
Great character development on her for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that very honest answer.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
It. And I know that you're. I have confidence that you'll be fine when that day comes.
Thank you, David.
One thing that you said that was really cool is that when you put on your paramedic uniform and when you're driving to that station, you've tapped into one of your alter egos.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all have them, but I think that it takes some time to find them. And I have one that comes out when I'm on mic and the lights are on, and generally with all these lights, not even the white ones, but like the purple and the orange ones, I don't turn any of this on unless I'm actually starting to record a podcast, because I believe that there are things that you can do to activate your alter ego. For you, it's putting on the clothes and driving to another town. For me, it's let's turn on the lights. And that's, I just, because I have stumbled upon that myself, I'm so happy for you that you found that. That's really awesome.
Yeah, it's important. Yeah.
There's a specific comment that Karina said that I think would be good to bring up and just see how you naturally respond. She said she made some notes that sometimes it's boring, sometimes it's the opposite. It can be traumatizing, but first responders in general could use more of a platform like podcasts because it can be a bit of a mindfuckery. So you have this unique opportunity tonight where you get to, shed some light on EMS. And when you think about what you guys experience, what would you like people to know? Is there anything about your guys' profession, about, what you do on the day-to-day, about just anything, as you think about the mix of like the boring and the traumatic all living in the same place at the same time? What came through your mind as I read her comments, and how would you like to respond?
Oh man, again, it's a job I chose to do, so everything that kind of comes with it, I kind of just accept that. I should accept that I might. You're gonna have nights where you lose sleep and you're going to be delusional, and that you're not going to be perfect on every scene. You're going to let your emotions come out because, you know, we're human. Um, but as far as, you know, what to shed more light on is, I think when people hear, you know, oh, they work on an ambulance, or, you know, call 911, that I feel like police and firefighters, they get a lot of the light. And I think that paramedics and EMTs, um, you know, some services, they are integrated, and there are fire stations that have, um, and I didn't know any of this too before I started. So some fire stations have paramedics and EMTs credentialed within them, so they're all working together in the same station. But there's some places have EMS that's separate, that we respond with fire. So with Austin, Travis County, EMS is separate from fire, even though some firefighters might be paramedics. They're not the ones that are transporting the patient to the hospital and providing that care. And I think that people kind of, maybe some light should be shined on, you know, EMS and paramedics and EMTs just themselves. And I'm probably horrible answering this question, but yeah, just understanding that, you know, maybe we should. Oh man, I don't know why it's so hard for me. Um, just understanding that, you know, we're gonna mess up. We're not gonna be perfect. That we're. I think when you hear about a save in the papers, or like a major event that's happened, it's the firefighters and police showed up quickly, and, you know, that's great. We love our firefighters, we love our police department, and but kind of the EMTs and paramedics and people realizing what they actually did in real time, they just kind of think, oh, those are the firefighters and police department that handle the situation, but they don't realize that the patient leaves the scene and gets in the ambulance, and we're still on scene, and there's a ton of chaotic moments in that, you know, that we're seeing, where that everyone's, you know, the firefighters lifted them up and put them in the ambulance and did their little stuff, did their assessments, did their treatments, and then put them in the ambulance. And now it's the EMTs and paramedics that are cutting them open, getting them IVs, getting medications, taking a picture of their heart, shocking them, and then getting them to the hospital, and making sure that the doctors and nurses, that they know what happened and how they can help and how they can treat the patient more. So, and you can be an EMT or paramedic at 19 or 20. So you can be a paramedic and see stuff like that and cut people open legally, and not even be old enough to drink a beer, you know? So it's super cool, but, you know, I think more people need to do. You can be an observer within EMS. You can go and ride out with EMS and just kind of see what we do. And if people realize what we actually see and do in the back of an ambulance when there's no one else around, they would be shocked. And just, yeah, that's what I was. Because I don't, you know, I'm not trying to say that EMS is just, you know, the stepchild and or the middle child and just never gets any recognition, because that's not true. I think as years progress, people are starting to realize a little bit more what EMTs and paramedics do. But yeah, I think there's a little bit of a disconnect with what we actually deal with, and the fact that you could see some body ejected from a car and be decapitated, and you go, wow, that's super hard to see. And then you have to get off shift and go home and go to HEB and just get, you know, some beef jerky or something, or some protein, or, you know, and
A head of lettuce.
yeah,
Terrible job.
No, it's
I'm
perfect.
so glad you laughed at that.
No, please. I mean, believe it or not, a lot of dark humor in EMS. You know, there's a lot of humor, so that's not. No, that's totally normal. But, you know,
he was okay with it, guys. You can laugh too.
Yeah.
Rewind 20 seconds. Enjoy the joke. Laugh.
You can laugh. You have my permission. I mean, all we have is humor, you know. So, yeah, it just, yeah, I guess just, you know, we're still human, and yeah, I think that's it. Just, you know, yeah, that's all I got, I guess, on that. Because I don't want it to seem like EMS doesn't get any recognition, because I think for the most part it's getting a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, just the fact that some partners I've had are 19 or 20, and there's this horrible situation, and you can see on their face they're kind of freaking out, and it's going to affect them, and people just think, well, this is their job, they should be able to get over it and handle it. But you could have some new provider that hasn't seen anything, fresh out of school, and just sees, bleeding out mother, father, child, and they're just expected to deal with that. So I think that yeah, people need to realize that a little bit more, I guess. But at the same time, I do think that we're there so that people don't have to realize that. So we're there to kind of help stray people away back from all those negative and horrible situations. That's kind of our job, is to kind of cover that up a little bit, because that's what we want to deal with. But yeah.
You made a specific remark about the ambulance ride,
Mm-hmm.
and it almost sounds like that in some ways that doesn't get acknowledged as much. You're
Mm-hmm.
in between these four walls. It's just you and your team and the patient,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe and I'm including myself in this,
Mm-hmm.
like people in general, we sort of forget about that part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's a more thankless part of your job, where you're not doing it for the attention, but you're doing it because it's the right thing to do. You have
Mm-hmm.
you have
Yeah.
a life to save.
Yeah.
But then you've realized you've gone on 100 calls and no one has said thank you, and
Mm-hmm.
you're like,
Yeah.
it'd be nice to be acknowledged for this
Mm-hmm.
every now and then.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, just to say, the majority of calls we get are not high acuity. They're not Hollywood movies, guts flying everywhere. The majority of calls are, people just falling, getting in minor little situations where they just, they're scared. They don't understand their body as much, and they just want to get help. So, but the little percentage of times where it's serious, it can be very serious. So it's not like I go to work and we're just getting bodies thrown from vehicles, people exploding. Like that doesn't happen.
You're not in Manhattan.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, or maybe Florida could be a place where there is
Yes,
constant,
alligators
like,
and
what are we doing today?
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I would say the majority of my job is just kind of being there for somebody, and no matter what the situation is, it's just kind of being that. Even if I'm never gonna see him again, just being that that person they can talk to about anything, and they'll open up about anything. And I love that. Just having, even if it's about an hour long of our interaction, and then focused on
We've made it to snoring.
After treatments and done and everything, then it's just an ambulance ride, and sometimes it's just me in the back or a team in the back, and we're just reassuring the patient as much as we can. And I always love to try to end each contact with a joke, a little lighthearted joke, if they're conscious, right? And but still, if I don't get a laugh, I'm like, but yeah, just try to keep it as calm as possible, and just try to, given the situation, have at least they get some sort of positive positive experience from it, even though it's extremely stressful sometimes. But yeah.
What if what if the plays on this episode spiked, and we found out was because your voice is so soothing to dogs that dog owners across America have been playing this episode for their dogs whenever they leave the house?
I'd be a rich
we
man.
found out the only people listening are not people.
Yeah,
it's all these
dogs.
anxious
Hey,
dogs.
Whatever gets the numbers up, David. Whatever gets the numbers up. I'd owe it to you. It'd be you and I.
So I don't know if this will happen or not. It may not. But I get I have had a couple instances, not a ton, but a few instances where a teen as young as like 14, 15 to as old as like, I'm trying to think if anyone in their 20s has approached me. It's mostly teenagers, but they've come up to me and made a comment about one of the episodes. So let's say instead of coming up to me, they go to the person they should go to, and they're like, "Hey Nick, I saw you over there," and I was like, "Oh, that guy was just on David Saturday Night Sit Back," and I'm 18, I'm graduating high school in 6 months. my parents want me to go to college. I don't want to fucking go to college. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, what advice would you give me? Like, I listened to your episode, it's pretty cool, and
Mm-hmm.
I think I sort of want to do this, but like, what do I need to know before? And so now I'm sort of taking your glory away because we're gonna give them the answer right now.
No, yeah.
But maybe they'll come up and say, "Thank you for
Yeah.
answering
Yeah,
that question." But if that kid, you know, came up to you, that young man or young woman, and they wanted to pick your brain a little bit, what advice do you think you would tell them about if that's the direction that maybe they should pursue?
You know, I would say just go visit your local fire department and say, hey, I'm interested in this, and I want to be I want to do observation shift and just kind of ride along, meet the crews, see how they live, and see what they do day to day basis. And yeah, I would say just stay out of trouble. Don't be doing anything too crazy. Start by maybe get into some fitness, start working out, hit the gym. If we're meeting in the gym, then I'd say you're already ahead of the game. And just start working on approaching people in public, just getting comfortable talking to people, and yeah, just honestly just look it up. You'll find a school. Come to EMTS Academy. Come there. I can be your instructor. Um, and I'd say if you love n- not knowing what to expect going to work and being on your feet and having a camaraderie with your coworkers and becoming closer to them than you could ever imagine, and them turning into family potentially, and um, then this is the job for you. I mean, it's great. I would recommend it to anybody for the most part, and it's exploited things within myself I never would have realized. So, um, yeah, I would say that probably. Mm-hmm.
I'll ask the follow-up question since you hinted on it, but you didn't say it directly.
Mhm.
Do they drug or alcohol test anyone that's thinking about joining, or
Yes. Mhm.
alcohol too, or just more so drugs?
More so drugs.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they do drug tests whether or not you're going to EMT school, paramedic school, or you end up getting a job somewhere with EMS or fire. They do drug tests, and it's not just one time. They do one time before getting hired on or applying to a school, and then they continuously drug test you, and it's random. You never know when they're going to drug test you, but yeah, you need to be drug free, and anything in moderation as far as alcohol goes. And yeah, just if you're drinking to excess and gonna get in trouble, then maybe cut back on that. But they do drug tests, yes.
Before I ask you my few final questions, what should we talk about?
Mm.
Is there anything about your story or being in EMS that maybe I should be asking that I'm not thinking to bring up tonight?
Mm. I'm very bad at this, David. I honestly, I think you.
If you feel like we've covered it, that's not a bad thing.
Okay,
there doesn't have to be an answer.
Okay, fair enough. I genuinely think that the questions you asked were, questions I don't typically get asked about myself, and um, I I say for the most part I don't really like talking about myself, so this has kind of helped me come out of that bubble a little bit. And no, I think the questions were phenomenal. Yeah, I don't have anything else to add. I think it was great.
All right. Well, thanks for the compliment. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Let me see if Karina said if there is anything we should talk about. I think we. Yeah, no, I think on my end we covered it too. So, couple wrap up questions for you. How does it feel that the heroes that you got to look up to, your instructor, your colleagues with them now,
Mhm.
and you're standing side by side with them? How's that feel?
It feels great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels great. Yeah, it feels great. Not even just for me. It just feels, I owe it to them for just showing up and just being these, um, giving me the, just further giving me the idea of what it would be like to be a responsible provider, and just something to look up, something to look forward to and look up to. So I give all credit to them, and yeah, I mean it feels great.
Have you found your voice through being able to teach, or are you still looking for that one aspect on your journey?
I think I'm still looking. I don't know if the search will ever stop, but I think it's definitely helped me be more comfortable talking to bigger groups of people. And something that I want to get better at is public speaking, and just kind of resonating with people a little bit more. And yeah.
Has there ever
Yeah.
been a time that you were in a shower, and because I bring that up specifically
Mhm.
because I feel like we just get these crazy ideas when we're showering sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, well, not me, but you know, you're shampooing your hair,
You're saving money, David.
and you just, well, I gotta shampoo this thing, but have you ever had this thought of what that would look like to have a voice? Like, have you ever dreamt about, you know, it would be so cool to talk in front of like 2,000, you know, new students who just graduated with their, you know, their EMT credentials? Or is there just ever been this idea where you've you've never really even spoken it out loud maybe, but you're like, it's come to your mind more than once? Do you
Mhm.
have a dream of what that looks like for Nick to have his own voice?
Yeah, absolutely.
What does it look like?
It looks like, so I really want to do, what I see is it's a big group of people, students, whether or not they graduated and they're looking for a job, and I'm kind of speaking at a conference in a sense, and kind of telling them my story and where they could be, and kind of some things I did that weren't so great, but you just fix those things and you get to a better position. But I guess more so, I really want to do, like be involved with SWAT, being a SWAT paramedic, and I just see us about to go to this field and do some training with some gunshots and stuff, and they're all taking a knee, and I'm taking a knee too, because I think it's important that if you're a superior or a leader, that people aren't working for you, but they're working with you. And I just have this vision that for some reason I'll be at a position of leadership and guidance, and I'm just talking to them on their level in a calm voice, and just kind of helping them, motivating them for the training we're about to do, and that they can do more than what they think they can do, and that just helping motivate them, and speaking to them as humans. And I've definitely envisioned that quite a bit, just being someone that they can look up to, and the calm in the storm. I constantly think of that for sure.
I believe you'll get there.
Thanks, David.
Yeah.
I know I'll get there.
I know you will too.
Thank you, David.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If your life was a movie,
Mm-hmm.
what would the audience be screaming at the screen for you to be doing differently right now?
Quit spending money on tattoos.
Yeah, I've seen this guy in the gym when he's wearing his tank top. I mean, you can see him now, and you got, 8% of your body exposed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably that. I mean, I guess more realistically, they'd be probably saying, stop going out every now and then and just getting obliterated, with alcohol. Stop doing that, because you seem to be going up a little bit and you're doing great, but then you drink and then you start feeling bad about yourself and all the things. So I always feel like that's the inner voice coming out too, like, Nick, you're doing so well. Things are, or you're doing better than you were. Like, why do you keep doing this? So I feel like there's just an audience saying, just stop doing that. Stop doing that, man. Stop putting yourself in situations that could ruin everything. So that's what I would say. That's what I have said.
That is what you have said.
That's what I have said.
It is out there.
Yeah, it's out there.
Do you have a favorite tattoo?
Oh, man.
Or is it sort of an equal love for all of them?
I think equal love. Yeah, I'd say equal love.
Is that your birthday on one of the backs of your calves?
It is. It is the birth year, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
What's the picture above it? I forget. I remember seeing the number, but there's an image above it, right?
Yeah, it's a little olive branch. I can't remember if it's biblical, but to be
your own tattoo.
I know. No, honestly, I don't have a lot of in super specific memory behind most of my tattoos. They're kind of just for fun, but I was pretty young when I got that one, and I think it resembles peace. and tranquility. I could be completely wrong about that, but yeah, it's just I think a little olive branch that indicates peace, and then my birth year. So I thought, okay, I've been born into as a peaceful being or something. But really, most of them don't have any meaning at all. It's just kind of for fun.
You've chosen them well.
Thank you,
I
David.
really like them.
Thank
As
you.
you can tell, like, I get to enjoy them through other people because I'll look at you and I'll see what you have, and I'll be like, that one's okay, and that one though, that one's fucking sick. But I've never you know what I'm afraid of? I'm afraid that if I got one within 2 years, I'd look like you.
Yep, that's happened
So
to
I'm
me.
like, let's just not take the lid off this can of worms here. You're saying do it.
Do it.
I guess there
I'm
was
the wrong
worse
guy.
things I could be spending with my money.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you running out of landscape?
Not yet. I have my entire torso that has nothing, and my back. I'd like to get. My mom is not going to be too happy that's where my choices have led, but I do, in a sense, kind of want to be covered. I like the style, and it's just something I like. So I do want to be covered. Just no neck tattoos or face tattoos, but yeah, I do want to be covered.
Yeah.
But got to save money here and there, so.
Nah.
Yeah, nah. But
I don't know if you'll recall this, but on your form, when I asked you, is there anything going on in our culture that you want to talk about? Did you have an answer for that? Do you remember?
Oh, man. Maybe it was people are losing sight of having conversations and talking face to face with social media and stuff being so involved now. That it's supposed to bring us closer together, but really I think it's kind of, in some areas, pulling us apart farther. Maybe that's what I said. I have dementia, I think.
Oh, there you are. I was going to say, what is your email address? You left it blank.
Oh, no way.
Yep.
Oh.
That's hilarious. But you're right. Yeah, have more conversations. It doesn't, with anyone. I think we've sort of talked about this in a way when we were talking about when you were younger. And did you feel like you self-isolated a little bit from 18 to 22? Or was it just the wrong group? It was a mix of probably wrong friends and also self-isolation.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah,
both of that.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot about here, so I don't feel the need to harp on it too much on this episode unless there's something you really want to feel like you're about to get fired up for. But I think people know. I think the ones who are on their TikTok or Instagram or phone doing whatever it is you're doing, similar to when you woke up hungover, I don't think anyone is looking at the clock, seeing that they've been doing that for 3 hours and are proud of themselves.
Yeah.
And I think a good alternative is, what conversation could you have had? Who could you have called? Who could you have gone to the gym with? Who have you not talked to in a while? What if you had texted them or just called them, cold call them?
Yeah.
Yeah, talk more.
Yeah. Talk more.
Talk more.
Yeah, talk more. Face to face.
Face to face.
Not DM or anything like that.
No.
I
have a thank you gift for you. I'm not just being rude and ignoring you and going on my phone. And you can hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
To Nicholas. I don't exactly know where to begin. David told me this letter could be about anything, which, of course, in regards to you, my dear, could really be anything. I've always thought you have a knack for depth, but you have such a wide range, from randomly blurting the funniest things to talking about your core values within a few mere minutes. I thought it was funny that on my short call with David, he mentioned the genuineness that he felt you exuded when he met you. A similar feeling, too, weaves its way through the majority of my memories with you. Through thick and thin, you, have always been genuine. That authenticity to yourself and to your goals is what makes you stand out in a crowd. Not by being a people pleaser, but by being you. It's what attracts people to you. Even the first time I met you, and I guess there's a couple different instances for that, but I swear time stops in the memory in my head. It was like I had always known you. Your dedication to discipline while being a bit more free-spirited than I think you give yourself credit for impresses me daily. I've always been taunted by Solomon's paradox, which is basically this idea that you can't take the advice that you dish out. But you push hard right past that fate and you remake yourself on the daily. I see you and I love you. I see a man guiding yourself through trials and tribulations, through life, and wanting to give back to those around you. I see the self-talk, the moments of joy, frustration, disappointment, anxiety, excitement, all your oddities and idiosyncrasies, your desire for more. I want you to know that I'm proud of you. Whatever and wherever life leads you, I'm always in your corner. You're my eye of the storm, my serenity, and one of my biggest inspirations. There is always room to improve in all of us, but I want you to know that you are already enough. Don't get so caught up in the improvements that you forget to appreciate how beautiful the now is. Love you. Bye.
Wow.
And this is my thank you gift
No
for you
way.
being here tonight.
No way. I literally was thinking, man, I want to save that, what she said. David, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I was getting a little teary-eyed. I'm not even lying. This is just not helping the situation. Wow. This means so much. Oh, this is so cool. Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
Genuinely, thank you so much, man. Wow. It's crazy because I'm going to have this for a long time. I mean, forever, hopefully, right? Because
Yeah.
I hold on to stuff like this. And it's cool that I'll look back to this day and this moment and just be reminded of this. And, you know, again, hopefully this isn't the last time that you and I talk. And, I mean, this is great.
What was it like to listen to that? What was going through your head?
I didn't know what to expect. I wasn't expecting anything. I didn't expect this, or you know, that she sent a message, and I kind of felt my shoulders come down a little bit, and maybe internally, maybe not physically, because you know, I feel like I'm always a little bit anxious, but yeah, just kind of like a mental warm hug that you know you're enough. You're just appreciation, you know, and yeah, it's just a really good moment right now. Just trying to take it all in, I guess, you know. Wow. Yeah, that was this feels good.
You're enough.
Thank you, David.
One of my favorite, I know this because back in 2020, my drinking went a little wild, and I spent a few months in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, and ultimately, it was not for me. We can maybe go out for coffee one day, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
But one of the sayings that I have carried with me that I really like is that they seek progress, not perfection. And so that's why I can say with confidence, I think you'll be enough, because you and me, we're never going to be perfect.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to mess up on a patient. You're going to say something you regret to Karina. You're going to, you know, have a workout scheduled with me and have to cancel and then feel bad about it, even though you had good reasons for justifying that you needed to go save people's lives, but you'll still feel bad. And I think that, you know, as long as we can get through those moments of imperfection without mentally flogging ourselves too much, and more so figure out, okay, how do I rebuild this, and how do I fix this situation, whether it's something very small where it's just a hit to your pride where you're like, yep, I was wrong, I should say I'm sorry, and it's gonna hurt to ask for forgiveness, but I can fix this immediately. Or maybe it's something bigger where you lose a patient and you don't know how do I give myself the grace that I did everything I could do and it didn't work out, and you'll figure out how to move past that as well. So you're never going to be perfect, but you can always be making progress, and you seem like someone who can do that, and that's why I know that you're enough today, right now, as you are.
Wow. I like you, David. I'm in love with you, David.
I love you too, dude.
Wow. Wow. I appreciate that. Seriously.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, while you feel like you still have this mental warm hug, I want you to be able to jump on your bike and just think about this,
Yeah.
or maybe we'll pour more coffee and we'll talk for an hour. You never know what happens
Yeah.
after I hit this record button and turn everything off. But Nic, thank you seriously so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I hope I know this was a fun and special experience for you, but so thank you for being willing to say yes, because I get no's a lot. And who knows why they say no. But when someone says yes, I get excited, because I think of things like this goal list where it just comes to me from, whether you want to call it God or the universe, and then you rolled with it so well.
Yeah,
And
Okay,
I think it got you thinking, and you answered honestly about which ones you vibed with. So I appreciate this conversation so much.
Yeah, David, thank you for having me.
You're
Seriously,
welcome.
this has been a great experience. Yeah, I loved every minute of it.
Good.
Yeah, great.
To the audience, thank you so much for being here. Guys, Nic showed up and he did his job. He told his story. I host the platform, so I've done my job. The rest is on you. We don't know what 16, 17, 18-year-old out there is going through their own journey, and maybe the details look a little bit different, but Nic's story is exactly what they need to hear, so they can start having that thought of, okay, how can I start scratching? How can I start looking for the door handle? Because it's not this thing I'm doing now, and so how am I going to pivot? We can only reach that person with you. So if you listened on YouTube today, hit that subscribe button. If you listened on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, hit that follow button. It means the world to me that you're partnering with us in a way to be part of this journey that is David Saturday Night Sit Back. So with that being said, everyone, I hope you stay healthy, stay happy, and we will see you next Saturday night. Bye.